I'm Jeremy Greer.
And I'm Gary Butterfield.
And this is Days of Future Cast, the podcast that covers all sorts of things. Right now, it's Avengers versus X-Men, Gary versus Jeremy. We're having a good time with it. We're on the new Avengers. We're going to take some time out to see what the Iron Fist lore is like, Gary.
Yeah. Bendis probably popped on this crossover because he realized he could just kind of do anything he wants in the off issues.
Sure.
You know, with his pet characters. So I was not expecting there to be a whole lot of stuff about Iron Fist's secret agent land and everything. But that's what we're getting here.
Yeah.
In New Avengers, number 25. With Bendis, Diodato on art. We talked about Bendis a lot. Diodato is somebody who is doing a lot of comics during my last comics run. So I'm, relatively familiar with this dude. He is okay.
Yeah. Seems
I feel pretty neutral towards him.
What is your feeling on Iron Fist? This is the first time we've ever even come close to talking about Iron Fist. I'm curious how you feel about it.
I read the Matt Fraction reboot that everybody liked and thought it was relatively fun. I am kung fu'd out.
Okay.
And have been for about 2 years. Where I'm just kind of not super into ninja magic right now. I don't think it's very interesting. I don't really care about ninjas or samurai right now. I think I just kind of got burnt out on it. Sekiro did a lot of damage in that respect. It's hard for me to care.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm just not that interested in Iron Fist. I liked that Matt Fraction run for what I read of it because it was trippy and kind of weird, but I've never gotten particularly attached to the character.
My real only experience is reading him in Alias, and he's not very much in that book at all. But him as adjacent to Luke Cage, and then the Netflix series, which was so just mind-bogglingly miscast, in my opinion, that I just couldn't stand it. But I also have the same thing where I think the dude's kind of power set is dumb, and I'm way past the point where I'm really into kung fu stuff, especially in comic books and things like that. I can kind of stand it. I can get behind John Wick, right? I'm down for that stuff.
No, I love John Wick. Yeah, that's only kind of kung fu.
Yeah,
a certain degree of kung fu I can handle, and I think Shang-Chi looks pretty cool.
Yes, absolutely.
It doesn't feel very Marvel-y to me, but I also I'll see it. I think that looks pretty cool. But Iron Fist has never really worked for me, and this is even before the discourse around it's a story about a white billionaire who comes and does kung fu better than anyone in Asia.
Mm-hmm.
Which is what Iron Fist is basically about. It just never really worked for me. I don't think it's that interesting.
Yeah, so let's talk about the lore.
Yeah, we're gonna get way into it.
Mm-hmm.
Once you immediately start talking comparing fighting styles, I just kind of check out.
Yeah.
It's also, I think it's for long form media too. I used to go to in Portland, I would go to something called Kung Fu Theater once a month, which it's exactly what it sounds like. This weird, crusty weirdo who lives in Portland, who is friends with Quentin Tarantino, borrowed Quentin Tarantino's rare 35mm prints of kung fu movies and would show them. And those were that was super fun because they're really unpredictable. The action is really weird, but it's not whenever a Western writer is doing it, there's a reverence to it that I think loses some of the madcap silliness of the shit. If I'm watching the 5 Element Ninjas, that's about dudes turning into leaves and shit. It's so weird.
Yeah.
It's so goofy, but this is really about, honor and prophecy and all of these plot killing words.
Mm-hmm.
Just the things that once you introduce them to a plot, just kill all the momentum.
Yeah, if you want to watch, Duel to the Death at any point, subbed or dubbed, and have a 6-pack of beer, I am your man. Let's go watch some old kung fu shit. But for some reason, when it's presented from this angle, a lot of it I just lose a lot of interest to it. I feel the same way about samurai and stuff. I'm not a huge samurai guy or anything like that. Okay, sure, if you say so.
Honor and once honor is part of the storyline, once it is about a lord or a daimyo and deference to a lord, I could not care less.
Mm-hmm.
It's just my Amerocentrism, individualism, but the second, somebody has to choose between honoring their master and doing the right thing, I'm that's not a choice. masters are fake.
Mm-hmm.
That's dumb. Like, I don't know. I'm not trying to dismiss an entire culture. I cannot relate to it as a motivation personally, and it interferes with my enjoyment.
Yeah.
So
let's get into
it. Yeah. Nerds, stop bowing to each other.
The cover is Iron Fist powering up. That's all we need to know about that.
With the Phoenix behind him.
Yeah. And then we start with what is very obviously like it's somewhere weird and someplace like relatively old, I guess. People speaking.
Well, it's a
because
it's
there's
a callback to the beginning.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is a callback to the alien planet in the first issue, where the little alien guy goes like father, looking out the window, and they get taken over by the Phoenix. It's happening, but it's happening in the Iron Fist land, because they're speaking Mandarin.
Yeah.
Here. So it's just showing the Phoenix taking over this other place, except it doesn't go the same way. It doesn't, they don't destroy the planet. Instead, this girl who's here, who has red hair, summons a little flame dragon out of her hand to fight the Phoenix in the air. And she manages to fight off the Phoenix.
I gotta say, this looks really dope. Like, this looks...
the art's great.
Yeah, this is really cool looking.
Mike Deodato is not somebody I love when he's doing figures, but him doing these kind of like energy effects in the air and stuff is super cool looking.
Mm-hmm.
Like, pretty neat. The girl then gains a Phoenix outfit here. And, that's the big reveal. We see that this is a dream.
Yeah.
We're in Ka'un-Lun, living in the living quarters of the Master UT hundreds of years ago. Ka'un-Lun is the mystical land where Iron Fist's powers and stuff come from.
Yeah. This dude sleeps in a mask, which...
Cobra Commander mask as well.
Yeah,
so
sure. Let's get it.
That's like a CPAP machine. Like, you cannot breathe real well in that thing. Like, you need a CPAP machine for it.
Yeah, you would definitely need like a tube under there. Like, I would wake up with this thing in my mouth is what would happen. Like, I don't
so sweaty.
I don't sleep with honor, Gary. I sleep with my mouth just consumes everything around me.
Yeah.
Maybe that's why I don't have bad morning breath. It's because I just constantly chew and eat when I'm sleeping.
Yeah, so a stream of mints going in there at night. So he had this dream. He's been having this dream over and over. The dream of the bird of fire, the dream with the girl with the hair like blood. So like a red-haired girl, like a Jean Grey or a Hope. And the dragon versus the bird, he keeps saying. His servant comes in and calls him master, like, I heard you stir. And he's basically, this is a prophecy. There's this girl, she stands with a thunderer, she's crimson, a bird of fire, and a destruction, we're all gonna die. So really encouraging to the crew.
Super cool stuff.
Yeah, he goes out to the village,
and which apparently is a thing because he's not supposed to go out. Like he's saying he's breaking protocol by leaving alone. And he's just kind of wandering around, thinking about people looking at him. But he's haunted by these visions, by these dreams. He wants to find this girl with the red hair or with the flame hair. So he goes over to the training center, I guess the dojo or whatever you would call it. And the main dude over there is like, oh, yo, the boss is here, and the boss is never here. This is a problem. Like, what's going on, man? Like, what can I do for you? What can I do to get you out of here as soon as possible? Which is what I do to my boss in the real world. So.
And like your boss in the real world, he goes, "How can you get me a redhead, son?"
Unfortunately.
And he's suitably confused, as if you're this ancient lord came and just goes like a girl with red hair. He's like, "I'm sorry,
what's that
in the city? I don't know. What are you talking about? Like a little kid?" And he's like, "I don't know. You figure it out." Basically, I thought you would know about this because this guy's name is Thunderer. He's got a little emblem on his chest that looks like a big stacked sandwich.
Okay.
To me, I can't look at it like it's not a silhouette of like a big club sandwich.
Okay. Yeah.
So
you think that's like a thin yellow line kind of thing that they're working with?
Probably. He's like, should I try to find this girl? Not yet. Okay, cool. Thanks, boss. That was worth it. The boss leaves and goes to something called the Vessel of Bo Ling, which is some kind of scrying device. And, looks in this pool of water, which pulls up a little orb, which shows him the Phoenix Force.
Yes.
He says, show me the bird of fire, and it shows him the bird of fire.
I gotta say, like, the art here looked like everything is very evocative and cool looking. for whatever reason, like I know the reason, but like for whatever reason, I'm kind of checked out. Like I just don't care a whole lot about people having dreams.
Like definitely the most. I was this is out of the stuff we did this week. This was by far the most boring thing to me.
Mm-hmm.
I just, and I'm like, because of Watch Out for Fireballs and because I don't like JRPGs and visual novels, I'm constantly vigilant that somebody at some point is gonna be like, you're racist and that's why you don't like those things. And I try to be really intentional about saying why I don't like them, because it's not like I think like they're bad because of the culture they come through. It just doesn't seem that cool to me.
Okay.
And it's really hard to explain. Like, it just doesn't look that cool. This guy with his mask, all these guys training and doing different animal forms, like when it shows the group, they're like the walking crane, the lotus standing, the panther rising. And these are martial arts formations. It just doesn't seem cool to me. I don't have an explanation for it. I don't think it's for racism reasons, but who can know their own heart?
Sure. Yeah.
It just doesn't seem that cool to me. And like when we did the Sekiro season, I was like, this is why this doesn't seem cool to me. I don't care about fatherhood, and I definitely don't care about masters as like a metaphor for fatherhood.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And I do not care about honor. And those are just themes that don't resonate with me. And I want that to be okay,
Yeah.
This is basically me inventing a guy to get mad at me.
Yes, this is
because it's never happened.
This is
100% me.
This is 100% you inventing a guy to be mad at you. But also like, but I get the urge because like you're saying a lot of words that are in the public, that you put out there, and that people can interpret in a lot of different ways, and you're very. You're the type of person who wants to be understood, and you definitely are not a racist, and you want to be sure that you say things, it doesn't come from that angle. And I think nowadays it's weird because for a lot of this stuff, you'd be like, well, I don't like samurai stuff, so I'm just not going to watch any samurai movies, and therefore I'm never going to talk about it, so it never is going to come up in my life. But like, doing stuff for podcasts sometimes, especially in your position where it's your job, you're like, oh, well, actually now I'm in a position where I have to consume this media, and I don't necessarily want to, but I'm gonna because it's my job, and now I have to talk about it. Yeah. So
that is 100% it. If I had my druthers, like I probably would have mostly got through Sekiro and stopped at some point and been like, that's okay. I probably would have skipped this part of this comic if we weren't covering it for the show.
Mm-hmm.
I just wouldn't get exposed to it.
Exactly.
And it would be fine.
Yeah.
But it's this weird position where it's like, my job is to say what I think about this stuff. I can't be dishonest about it. And it's just not my thing. There's 2 pages of him, and then the plot thing is he asks for a vision of the girl, and the magical water just doesn't do it.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know what the rules of this magic water is, but the water does not show him the girl.
No.
He says, please. Then he gets visions that night. He gets another nightmare about this stuff. The Phoenix versus the dragon.
Same imagery, same outcome with the cool Phoenix Force outfit, which I actually do like the way that looks.
Yeah, that looks super cool.
And then the next day he's back out on the streets, where he spots a girl with flame hair. And it's this like weirdly lengthy section of this person in power, like demanding to know who this person is, and like the subservient is it's number one, like tries to stand up and is like, oh shit, this is the boss, I gotta do what this guy says because of master stuff, I guess. And then has apparently been caught out because she spent some time on Earth and then brought this redhead back with them. But the redhead doesn't speak. And then this master decides like, hey, she's coming with us. She's gonna be. You can come visit every once in a while, but she's mine now. Like, where I'm just gonna take her from you. Which
he conscripts her.
Yeah.
Someone will come and claim you at the appropriate times.
Go. Excellent. Thanks.
So he just kidnaps. Not doing anything really different than what they're trying to stop happening to Hope.
Mm-hmm.
Here, and this person is kind of coded as Hope. I don't really know who this is. This is hundreds of years ago, but the character looks like Hope.
Yeah.
So we're going to find out more about this, and I am interested in that.
Mm-hmm.
As he's leaving, he's like, she's going to be the next Iron Fist. Sandwich Man is like, we haven't had an Iron Fist in 75 years. And he's like, we haven't needed one. There's a Phoenix about now.
Skip forward to Kunlun today. And this Thunderer guy, the current incarnation, is like, why has nobody ever told me about this Phoenix Force stuff? And the current Master Dude is like, we didn't want to. we weren't going to do that. Sorry. We didn't need to.
Yeah. The time is now, but read quickly. I love he's like, we didn't want to burden you with this, but hurry up.
Yeah.
You need to know everything about this in this gigantic book. And basically it's Kunlun being invested in this. Like if the Earth falls, we'll die as well. And it shows Sandwich Man, and he's looking at this thing, and it shows like kind of a demon, a yokai, the Phoenix version fighting a lady Iron Fist.
Which
drawing
looks kind of dope.
And that's the big shocker.
Yeah.
And it shows the next issue. It looks like Hope and Iron Fist hang out.
Yes.
In the next issue of this,
which I'm, okay, sure. I'll take whatever I got, whatever you got coming. Like I'm okay, yeah, sure.
I'm curious. I literally could not care less about Kunlun.
Yeah.
I just cannot care about this weird mystical land. Not interesting to me.
I have to imagine that if you're an Iron Fist fan and having this part of the Iron Fist lore tie into some Phoenix stuff is really, really cool. And like seeing that, this is a really cool way to approach a spinoff or a tie-in book, right? To get like, oh hey, like we've got our own little lore and stuff that we're dealing with over here is, I think, just really kind of cool. So I don't particularly enjoy the story, but I'm kind of here for it.
I'm curious enough. I feel my fear is that every time we're in this subplot, I'm just going to want to get back to the other characters.
Absolutely.
If depending on what Hope, how Hope like ties into this. It might keep my attention, but as is, I'm like, man, get me out of this stuff.
Yeah.
So, and make of that what you will. It's also like a pretty slow comic. Not a whole lot happens in this. There's 2 identical dream sequences and 2 identical walking around town sequences.
Yeah. And like him just saying like, come to my house is like a page and a half or something. Like it's crazy.
Yeah. And that's the climax is like, come to the house.
Come live with me.
It's a weirdly paced comic.
Yeah.
But after this, we'll be doing things with a little bit more incident, I think.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's it. That's going to cover this. We appreciate everybody watching. Listening. I guess you could watch this podcast if you want to. If you just like waveforms, that'd be a good time. Take some mushrooms. See what this does to you. Don't do that. Don't do drugs.
We can't stop.
Don't do drugs and listen to me. That'd be super weird. Like if you told me you had a mushroom trip and like I listened to 18 hours of Days of Future Cast, I'd be like, I don't want to talk to you anymore. I don't want to. No new friends. Like a bad trip. No new friends.
Yeah. Patreon.com/Duckfeed.tv is the main thing you can do to help us out. You can also leave ratings, reviews, or tell your friends.
Yes, all of that stuff helps.
And I'm gonna go hang out in the air conditioning.
Yeah, go get cooled down, Gary. Gonna go order a pizza because my wife isn't at home, and that's what guys do when their wife isn't home.
Hell yeah.